Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It is Shamira and I'm actually currently working right now, but I'm on lunch. So I wanted to do a video that way I can have it possibly edited and uploaded today for you guys. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about endoscopies that are converted to laparoscopic procedures. And I had a surgery that I did today, and it was kind of similar to the one I did yesterday. So we had a patient with pelvic pain. The findings were clear lesions of endometriosis in the posterior cul-de-sac and possibly on the fallopian tubes. We started this initially as a diagnostic laparoscopy. So there was no indication that there was going to be endometriosis. So we started it out as a diagnostic laparoscopy, but the surgeon decided to fulgurate the endometriosis. So once she then began fulgurating the endometriosis, we are going to be looking at a different code, and that code is going to be the 58662. So I'm going to take it back a little bit, and we are going to be in my CPT book because this was going to be a diagnostic laparoscopy. So let me put this light up a little bit so you can see. Okay, so diagnostic laparoscopies we know are the 49320. I showed you guys that I think in my last video we were over here looking at the 49320 for laparoscopy of the abdomen, peritoneum, omentum, and that it was a diagnostic laparoscopy. But you see here highlighted in orange for laparoscopic fulguration or excision of lesions of the ovary, pelvic viscera, or peritoneal surface, we use the 58662. So that is where I had got that code from. It took me somewhere else because we ended up fulgurating the endometriosis. And what else did I want to bring up? So looking at my chapter 7 coding manual, and I got this from CMS's website. I can link it down in the description box below for those of you that have never seen this before. But this one is specific to chapter 7. They have all the chapters of your CPT manual, so you can either download them and have them, but I keep chapter 7 because it's related to my specialty for the female genital and maternity care. So in this chapter under C, and then I'm going to number 7 is where you can find this information if you choose to print this out. They tell you about diagnostic endoscopies that are converted to a laparoscopic or an open procedure. And it reads here that the diagnostic endoscopy may be separately reportable. So I didn't want anyone to get confused thinking that a diagnostic laparoscopy is the same as a diagnostic endoscopy. Like, these are two different scopes being used. And I did run my codes through like our little NCCI editing tool where I put the 49320 and 58662 to see if they are allowed to be billed together, and they are not. No modifier can be used in order to bypass the NCCI edit for those two codes. However, if we had a diagnostic hysteroscopy, which is the 58555, and then we did the fulguration of endometriosis laparoscopically, you can add a modifier and you would be able to bill 58555 with modifier 58, which it says it right here. Modifier 58 may be reported to indicate that the diagnostic endoscopy and non-endoscopy therapeutic procedure were staged or planned procedures. The medical record must indicate the medical necessity for the diagnostic endoscopy. So coming over here, you see the 58555 hysteroscopy diagnostic separate procedure. This is a endoscopy procedure. So even if we did the hysteroscopy and let's say they seen a myoma in there and they decided to do a remove it laparoscopically, you would then be looking up here for laparoscopy surgical myomectomy, excision of 1 or 4 intramural myomas, and then they also have the weight. Because that diagnostic endoscopy led to us doing a laparoscopic procedure, you can now build both of those, and the modifier 58 would go on the 58555. And again, it says it here, modifier 58 may be reported to indicate that the diagnostic endoscopy and endoscopic therapeutic procedures were staged or planned procedures. If an endoscopic procedure is performed at the same patient encounter as a non-endoscopic procedure to ensure no intraoperative injury occurred or verify the procedure was performed correctly, the endoscopic procedure is not separately reportable with the non-endoscopic procedure. I'm trying to think of an example. If they do a procedure and they are using a scope just to make sure that everything was done properly and they did not have any complications, like they didn't make an incision into the bladder by accident. But if they're just using it to check their work and make sure everything was good, you cannot bill for an endoscopy separate. And then we have here at number 8, if an endoscopic procedure is converted to an open procedure, only the open procedure may be reported. Number 9, surgical endoscopy includes diagnostic endoscopy, which is not separately reportable. If a diagnostic endoscopy leads to a surgical endoscopy at the same patient encounter, only the surgical endoscopy may be reported. And an example for that, again, would be if they were doing a diagnostic hysteroscopy, and then let's say after they've seen inside the patient's uterus, they decide that they want to do a DNC and ablation, so an endometrial ablation, and that is going to be the 58563, and that would read hysteroscopy surgical with endometrial ablation. You would not bill 58555 and 58563 because the diagnostic endoscopy would be included. Even though she came in for the diagnostic, we are now doing a surgical endoscopy, and the diagnostic portion is included. So know the difference between the two, because it can be very confusing when you see diagnostic endoscopy and then diagnostic laparoscopy. It's two different procedures. So I did want to share that information with you guys. And then I'm going to turn the page because there was more information that I wanted to share with you guys that kind of makes it more simple. Okay, so underneath letter E of the same chapter 7, it says at number 2, all surgical, laparoscopic, hysteroscopic, or peritoneoscopic procedures include diagnostic procedures. Therefore, CPT code 49320 is included in CPT codes, and then they give you a code range. I think this second one here, this 385703, or no, 38570, they missed the dash. But here are all the other codes that you cannot bill for the diagnostic laparoscopic procedure. So if I look at my 49320 and I was billing 58662, it would be in this code range. Where's my pencil? 58. It would be in the code range for here. So the 58660 through 58673. So it even tells me in this manual that you cannot bill it separately. It says CPT code 58555 is included in CPT codes 58558 and 58565. So that is 558 and 5865. So if we come over here to my CPT book, 58558 through 58565. And I told you guys that. So whenever you have a diagnostic hysteroscopy and they decide to do a surgical hysteroscopy, you cannot bill for those separate. And it tells you that in the manual. So if I have any OB coders that are watching my videos, you'll definitely want to print out chapter 7 and keep it with you at your desk, wherever you are, at work, at home, and just have it as a guide because it can be very helpful. What else is on here? It's a lot of information, and I'm not going to sit here and read every single one. let me keep on going because I think I had another manual that I wanted to show you guys and that I can include in the description box. So this is just about modifiers and modifier indicators. Okay, so this is another area that I was pretty much telling you guys about before when I said I had ran these two codes, 49320 and 58662, to see if there were any NCCI edits. And here it tells me, and this is just the modifiers and modifier indicator. I can't remember where I got this from. I'm pretty sure it's probably CMS's website, but each NCCI PTP, which is procedure to procedure edit, has an assigned modifier indicator. A modifier indicator of 0 indicates that NCCI PTP associated modifiers cannot be used to bypass the edit. And these modifiers, these NCCI modifiers are, let me see, right here. So these here are the modifiers that can be used to bypass the edit. Modifier 59, the XE, XS, XP, XU. These are the modifiers that they are referring to that you could use to bypass the NCCI edit if it allows you to. So a 0 indicates you cannot use a modifier to bypass, and that's what I had got when I did these two. Let me see. A modifier indicator of 1 indicates that NCCI PTP associated modifiers may be used to bypass an edit under appropriate circumstances. So not all circumstances, but you just have to make sure that it is medically necessary to report both those services with one of these modifiers. So 59 or one of the X modifiers. And that is what an indicator 1 says. So when I think of 0 and 1, 0, if I see 0, that means no modifier at all. If I get a modifier indicator of 1, that means I can use one of these modifiers. A modifier indicator of a 9 indicates that the edit has been deleted and the modifier indicator is not relevant. So if you see an indicator of 9, then you don't have to worry about it. But just focus on your 0 and your 1, because if you have a 1, you can report both services with a modifier. And if you have a 0, you cannot. But the next manual that I wanted to show you guys, this one is for chapter 1. Why is it blurry? Okay, there we go. This one is for chapter 1. And I think in here I have like global surgical package information. So I'll have chapter 1 in the description box as well, but I know I go over, or I have the global surgical package in here because I do talk about global surgeries quite often, and usually it's related to maternity, but the global surgical package information for other surgeries such as minor and major surgeries, that information you can find here. I'm pretty sure I got this from Medicare, CMS's website as well. I can leave this one down in the description box because it just goes into detail on global days and the definitions of the certain indicators. So like if you see 90, 0, 10, if you see 3 Ys, 3 Zs, and I said in my other video that maternity, you'll see 3 Ms. For global days, services not included in the global surgical package. They tell you about things that aren't included in the global surgery. And then they talk about minor surgeries and endoscopies. They talk about physicians furnishing less than the full global package. So maybe they didn't provide everything and the patient was seen by another physician or specialty. They even give examples. It's just a lot of information that you can find on the internet. I will have all this information in the description box so that way you guys can, read through it yourself whenever you have time. But yeah, I did want to share that information because I thought it would be helpful, especially for the new coders that are looking for some information to study. There's plenty of information out there for you guys to, get a little head start if you're starting classes soon, or maybe you already started and you're just looking for more info on something that had been discussed in your class. So yeah, I will leave all this information in the description box. And yeah, as always, make sure you leave a comment down below, give the video a like, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.